Hey guys, you liked a lot when I reacted to another video of this channel right here. It's complicated channel, so obviously I decided to react to another one. Today I'm gonna watch with you guys this one right here. Lonely Man Rules of Modern Dating and Understanding Women. Apparently now I'm gonna understand a bit more about these American women, and let's
If you
see.
want to support this channel, please consider making a
Let me
donation
just
or
do
clip my
that.
videos and share it on all platforms. Don't forget to tag me. Is it easier for a man or a woman to acquire sex?
It is much easier for a woman to acquire sex.
Why is that?
Obviously.
Because we choose. We choose whether or not we have the option of whether or not we're gonna let a man have sex or not.
I don't think that
Okay,
that's
that one
necessarily
was good.
true.
Don't women typically consent to sex?
Consent goes both ways.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. What's the longest that a man's ever made you wait for sex?
You know what? It's happened. I don't know.
But does that typically happen?
Maybe. No, it doesn't typically happen.
Okay, so isn't it fair to say that women generally control access to sex more than men
If
do?
a woman wants sex, she can get it. If a man wants sex, doesn't mean he can necessarily get it.
Okay, so is it safe to say that women typically control access to sex more than men do?
Why is it
Because
so
it's
hard to say
easier for a
yes?
woman to get sex than it
That's
is for a man?
obvious.
I don't like the phrasing that you're boxing me
Okay.
into, but
But I mean,
She doesn't like the phrasing, obviously. Okay, we just started. These women are getting mad at the questions because the way they are phrased, they just can't say yes or no.
I mean, do you have a different way of explaining it? I mean, is that not generally true?
I think that
I mean, if it's easier for a woman to get sex and it's harder for a man to get sex, we can't conclude that women typically control access.
okay, it's easier for a
Okay.
girl for sure. Yeah, guys are thirsty.
Since it's harder for men, should women be surprised that guys have lower standards for sex than women?
Not really, because I mean, they just want to get it in, right?
Yeah, real quick.
What the fuck?
Don't women have the privilege of being more
She
picky
just contradicted herself
because
here.
they have more options?
Yes. Yeah.
Don't women have the privilege of being more picky because they have more options?
Yes.
Okay,
Have
these
you ever heard of
women
an incel?
No.
An
are
incel?
not as bad as it was on the other video that I watched.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Have you ever heard of an incel?
No.
Okay, incel stands for involuntarily celibate, and it refers to a person who can't get any sex. Who is more likely to be involuntarily celibate, men or women?
Men.
Men. I think it's one
Okay,
in three
these
men
girls
are
here
not
have
having
common
sex right now.
sense, so it's
In
not
today's
as bad.
society, if a man goes up to a woman and asks her for her number or Snapchat, he's looked at as like a creep and a pervert. But if a woman goes up to a man, it's 100% okay, which is not okay to me.
Why are men
Let's
shamed
be
for
honest, it's only creep if the girl finds the guy unattractive. If he's ugly, he's fucked.
not being able to get sex, but also shamed for trying to get sex?
That's a good question. I think it's the way they go about trying to get sex, because women want relationships. Well, I can't say all women, but a good amount of women want relationships, and when you meet the men that just want sex, it kind of tarnishes everything.
Is it fair to shame men for being incels when women are the ones who control access to sex?
I don't think you should shame anybody for anything.
Is it fair to shame men for being incels when women are the ones who control access to sex?
No, not at all.
Isn't that victim shaming?
Yes, 100%.
Isn't every man who's been rejected temporarily an incel?
Yes.
Is it fair to portray incels as lazy, immature
Temporarily,
losers
an incel? I never thought about that.
because they don't conform to women's standards and selectivity?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Fucking incel.
If a man can't get sex, he might be made fun of and called names just for that. And then, well, also I think if a man does get a lot of sex, it might be like everyone praises him also for getting a lot of sex. So I don't really think that there's a whole lot of men out there that are getting shamed for having a lot of sex.
Is it fair
I mean, it's not the best thing to shame people, especially men that don't get laid. But let's be honest, if you're a man that you don't get laid, you are an incel and not by choice, you're doing something wrong. So the shaming can be a good motivation for you to see that you gotta change something if you wanna get laid. It's just not gonna fall from the sky. You gotta do something to get it.
portray incels as lazy, immature losers because they don't conform to women's standards and selectivity?
Negative. No. Everybody is built different and has their own standards in life.
If a man does conform, does that make him a simp?
Negative. No.
Why is it more acceptable to shame men for having low standards versus shaming women for having unrealistic high standards?
That is right. I'm speechless on that one.
Oh yeah, you kind of got me flabbergasted on that one.
Right, you're fluttered. Don't know what to say.
Damn. Survival of the fittest. Whoever seems like they're about to get it in, gets it in, and they continue their genes and whatnot. But besides that, like, I don't know.
So would you say, based on that, that women ultimately control the evolution of society?
Yes.
Based on the men that they choose?
Yes, it's because it's like the mating rituals. Like they say yes or no in most breeds.
So then
like
how are we
species.
living in a patriarchy where men have all the power?
Just because that's how society was set up when women were supposed to stay home and take care of the kids and the guys went out and did all that shit and we're supposed to rely on them.
What he's saying is true, but I don't like this mindset of like men don't get laid because women don't want these guys. It's probably the fault of the guy. It's probably the guy's fault because let's say you are a fat guy, you don't take care of your appearance of your body, you live with your mom, you don't do anything for work. Obviously no women should even want to get with you. So a lot of the times you gotta be worth it for them so you can get laid. And a lot of the times I see some, not a lot of the times, but sometimes I see some men that just don't do anything that helps them to get laid, and they just blame the women for not choosing them. So I like to take accountability and responsibility, and if I'm not getting laid, it's because of me, not because the women is not choosing me. I think like that. I don't know about you guys.
What is the longest you've gone without having sex?
A year?
What is the longest by choice you've gone without having sex?
A year?
Probably like 18 years.
What is the longest by choice you've gone without having sex?
Probably like a month.
Who's more likely to lie about how long they've gone without sex, men or women?
Women.
Don't men lie about getting more and women lie about getting less?
No.
No.
Uh,
You know that's true.
yeah.
Don't men lie about getting more and women lie about getting less?
Yes.
Why?
Because we're seen as being tarnished for the more sex that we have.
Why are women who sleep around seen as sluts while men who sleep around are seen as studs?
Because men don't want to see that their woman that they have prospect to be interested in has been with every man.
Could it be because it's easier for a woman to be a slut?
No,
Well, don't women control access to sex?
they do, but there are many male sluts. They're just being praised for being that way.
But isn't it harder for a man to be a male slut than it is for a woman to be a female slut?
Depends
don't
on the
get it.
man.
Wouldn't you say that the high-value men with lots of options are rare?
Yeah.
So then, wouldn't you say that it's more likely for your average woman
If
to be
you're
a female
getting laid as a man, getting a lot of women, it means that you are doing something right. So that's why these people are praised. To get laid as a woman, it's really easy. She just needs to open her legs. And there's another thing that's why they don't like women. We don't like women that sleep with a lot of men. It's because it's easier for them, but it's also because they are the ones getting fucked. So if a woman has sex with 20 men, it's not that she is having sex with 20 men, is that 20 men fucked her. So if you think like that, because the man gotta do something wrong, right, to get to that point. So if a lot of men can do it, it's probably because that girl is easy. And if a man sleeps with a lot of women, that's different because it's really hard as a man. So a man that can do that is a successful man. A man that doesn't sleep with a lot of women, it's like failure of a man, let's say like that.
Than your average man?
Yes.
Women sleep with who they want, men sleep with who they can.
That's true.
What's the difference between shaming a woman for being a slut and shaming a man for being an incel? In other words, why are women shamed for having too much sex while men are shamed for not getting any sex?
Well, women can't have sex without being attached in some way. It's just in our innate.
Yeah, there is that
What do you mean
too.
they can't have sex?
I forgot about
Not that they
it.
can't have sex. They can't have sex without having some type of emotional attachment.
Why do you think men are more likely to be able to have sex without feelings than women?
Because you guys are made to procreate.
The
Exactly.
name is
These women
involuntarily celibate, so
make
the man
sense.
is
I'm
not-
Yeah, he
impressed.
doesn't have a choice for that one.
Oh,
But
yeah.
us females, we definitely have a
From
choice to be a
seeing
slut.
the other video, I was expecting much worse, but these ones are not that bad.
Because women control access to sex.
I control whether you take my clothes off or not.
We do.
Don't women have a choice to be a slut, but a man doesn't have a choice to be an incel?
Yeah.
So then why would it be worse to call a woman a slut than it is to call a man an incel?
I don't know why it would be worse.
Again, I think he has a choice to get better, understand what women want, and try to take care of his appearance and be more attractive. There are a lot of things that you can do. I'm not saying it's easy because it is hard. I know that, but there are some things you can do. Unless you are deficient, unless you were born without 2 legs and 2 arms, you can do it.
But our society labels it as worse.
They label being an incel worse than being a slut?
Well, in other words, a lot of women resent being called a slut when they have
Correct.
a choice to be a slut, but it's okay for men to be called incels when men don't have a choice to be an incel because men don't control access to sex.
I think men don't have the choice on what they're doing, but nowadays with social media going the way it is, women have actually embraced slut. And that's the problem.
Do you think women today are more interested in relationships or hookups?
You know, I would say more hookups today.
Why?
Because they have all these rappers, you know, influencing them, like, basically they're trying to play the role as
I
men.
actually think most women are not more interested in hookups. They're interested in relationships, but they try to get a guy that's too high level for them, and then they cannot get it. And then they try to get another one and another one, just trying to get men out of their league, and they can't. So that's what I think happens. But obviously, there are some sluts out there. I can't deny that.
They're trying to play us out of our money, and it's bullshit.
Me personally, I'm more interested in relationships. Women nowadays, I think, are
But
more.
also these days, being a slut is being like promoted on media, on TV, on YouTube, and in musics. Every place is promoting women being sluts. So a lot of them get influenced by it, and they also become sluts. A lot of them don't even feel good about doing that, but they just want to do it because other people are telling them to do that, because that's the good path to take in life and things like that. So they regret it later.
Worried about their careers and hookups.
So if women are more interested in hookups, how can a man let a woman know he just wants to hook up without making her feel like a slut?
There isn't a way, no matter what.
So aren't we kind of damned if we do, damned if we don't?
Yes, you are.
Would you rather have the best sex you've ever had or the best food you've ever eaten?
Best food you ever eaten.
Yeah, food for sure.
Best food I've ever eaten.
I'm a foodie. I like
Would you rather eat all the junk food you want without gaining weight, or have unlimited sex without being slut shamed?
unlimited
sex without being slut shamed.
Who are the bigger slut shamers, men or women?
Women?
Why are there men who shame women for being sluts when men also complain about how hard it is to get laid? Are those the same men?
No. I think the men that are calling women sluts are looking for a woman that aren't sluts.
If a woman's body count doesn't matter, why is it typically the first thing women bring up to shame another woman they are jealous of? In other words, why would a woman ever slut shame another woman?
That's a good question.
Because they know deep down body count does matter.
Is the main reason women don't want
Exactly,
to be easy?
it's just a coping to think it doesn't matter, to say it doesn't matter. Even if they say that, they tell other people that, in the bottom of their heart, they know it matters. They know that's why
Because they don't
they call other girls hoes. That's why they lie about their body count. You know that it
want to be
matters.
shamed? Or could it be that they don't want to relinquish their sexual power over men?
I don't think either one of those. I think the reason why women don't want to be easy is because we don't want to have a body count, because we want to find somebody that wants us for who we are. And the guys that we're looking for don't want a woman with high body count.
Why is it okay for women to feel entitled to be protected and provided for, but it's wrong for men to feel entitled to sex and intimacy?
I think after being provided for so long, and once you're comfortable in the relationship, that men are going to expect for you to be intimate with them at a certain point.
Are women doing men a favor by giving them sex?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
For a moment.
If a woman rewards a man with sex, why is there still pressure on him to perform and satisfy her?
I feel like men can be selfish.
But girls will not come back if they're not, like, doing well. Yeah.
Well, why should a man have to earn the opportunity to please you sexually?
Because women get to decide everything in other species, so why not human species?
Okay, but then
It's
if
because
that's
of
true,
biology.
then why do we complain about being in a male-dominated patriarchy where men control women?
Because it's the hunter and gatherer type of discussion. Because we had to stay at home and wait for the men to come and hunt and bring that shit back to us for us to, like, cook and shit. So that's where it started.
Are there female incels?
Even these days, it's men who run the world. Electricity, water, technology, everything, it's just working because of men. So these days, women can do more things that men used to do before, because the world is so easy for them today because of men, that they can do things they could not do before.
So, maybe.
Would it be fair for society to shame a lonely old cat lady for being involuntarily celibate?
No.
How likely are men to have sex with a lonely woman out of pity?
I guess it depends on who you ask. I'd say pretty likely.
How likely are women to have sex with lonely men out of pity?
Oh, unlikely. They just want...
I've heard some stories about this, but the women that did this were crazy because they were addicted to sex and being hoes because they started it and then their minds were very different. They didn't feel the love that they need to feel before having sex anymore. Now they were just addicted, and even though they felt bad for doing that, they kept doing. And one of, I don't remember if it was one or two, but one or two guys, she just had sex with them because she felt pity. So I know one, I don't remember now if it's the same woman or if it's true. I heard of this in the same story, but yeah, I've heard of this happening
rich
already.
and famous.
How likely are
But
women
just
to
one
have
time.
sex with lonely men out of pity?
Not so likely.
Why is that?
Because A woman wants a man that looks strong and feels strong, and she feels like she's going to be
Exactly.
protected,
That
and
woman,
that's what they
that
look
woman
for. So
was
if
broken
you look like
to
you're
do
the weak
that.
one cowering in the corner, she's probably not going to go up to you.
Men think that there are these issues. Like, if you were more confident, or if you just, like, put yourself
This
out
girl
there
on the
more,
right looks like my friend.
you just, like,
What the fuck?
whatever, just do it. I guarantee you, it doesn't matter what the woman's standards are. That's what they're attracted to.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So if you woke up tomorrow and you were a guy and you wanted to get laid like most guys do, how would you do it?
I'd go to a bar, find my pretty girl sitting at the bar, sit down, and I'd ask them if I could buy them a drink. Literally. That's all you have to do. Make yourself there. Present yourself. Be confident.
I understand that, but if that was true, why would there be so many guys who complain about being stuck in the friend zone?
Because they're too busy trying to be the nice guy. They're not actually presenting themselves that they want this. They're looking like the friend, so we see them as a friend.
Do you prefer a man who is a
A lot of
gentleman or
times
a...
the guy don't take initiative, so the women is not gonna do it. Most of them are not gonna do it. So sometimes they don't really know if you want something with them, and they just keep being your friend. And sometimes they are not even attracted to you, so they just like you as a friend because you have a lot of benefits for them to be your friend. So don't be on the friend zone. Be directly, tell her that you want her, and if she doesn't want, you leave and you go find another woman that's gonna want you. So you don't waste your time. Some men just waste like 10 years on a friendship with a woman that he wants, but he is too afraid to do something, and it never happens. And in the end, it could be that the girl just don't even like him that way.
bad boy?
I like a gentleman.
Is it fair to say women lust after bad boys that want to settle down with nice guys?
Yes.
How do bad boys treat women?
Like shit.
What's the difference between a man who spoils his woman and a man who's whipped?
What's the difference?
This thing of treating women like shit, I hear a lot, but that's a lie. That's a lie, because to get the woman, you need to treat her nicely, you need to make her feel good, and sometimes the guy just treat her like shit after he already get her, because man, let's be honest, if you treat women like shit, they are just gonna stop talking to you or something like that, unless they are really attracted to you in the first place. Maybe you're a high value man, something like that. But for us, normal people, don't believe that lie. Don't believe it. Don't believe it.
Between a man that spoils his woman and a man that's whipped.
His
I mean,
level of consent.
I'm not talking about being a simp though, you gotta understand me. Just saying, treating her like shit's not gonna work. You don't need to simp. You just need to treat her like a gentleman, not a simp. Don't get me wrong.
And his part in happiness in doing whatever he's doing for his woman. If he's not happy doing it, if he's resenting her,
It depends on the authority that he puts down. Like, there can be a man that spoils his woman in a certain way. He takes her to dinner, he takes her out, he takes her on vacation. And then there's the men that literally bow down hand and foot for their women, that their women are running all over them.
If a
I
woman
think
expects
she's talking about the type of guy that has a scarcity mindset. Because if you have no other women, you're gonna treat that woman like a queen, and she's gonna notice that, she's gonna see that no other woman wants you, and then she's not gonna want you, because that's the reality. Women want the best man that they can get. So if they feel like you are not the best, if you treat her like you are better than her, like she's better than you actually, she is not gonna like you. But I'm saying it again, not treating them like shit. Just treat her like someone that you don't really need, but someone you actually want.
spoiled, doesn't that mean she expects her man to be whipped?
No.
And another tip for that is to have other women, because automatically you're gonna have abundance mindset. So you're not gonna be treating women like a simp. She's not gonna feel like you are doing too much for her, treating her too nicely. But again, don't treat women like shit.
Do men shame each other for being whipped the same way women slut shame each other for being easy?
Yes.
I don't know about that. I do know that men will shame their friends for being whipped, and I think that's a problem with the patriarchy.
Does every incel hate women?
No.
Does every feminist hate men?
Probably, yes. Yes.
Does every incel hate women?
I don't believe every incel hates women. I think that they might be shyer than most men. I think more alpha males end up getting more sex than more beta males do.
Does every feminist hate men?
Yes. I'm not a feminist. I am more of a traditional woman, so I really can't speak on the feminist woman because I don't agree with most of them.
Some women don't hate men and they say that they are feminist, but they are not. They don't really agree with a lot of the things that feminists say. So are they really feminists? And do all the feminists hate men? I don't know. That could be true. The true feminists, not those that don't really know about what feminism is about.
What is the patriarchy?
Patriarchy is... You're gonna make me describe this.
How do you define it?
Well, the old
Sorry, even I
white
don't know
men
how to define that
who have
in
deemed
English.
what is acceptable
In Portuguese, I know
for men and
easier
women, the
to
roles
think.
of men and women, social norms, beliefs. It's all back to old white men deciding for everybody.
Actually, let's say a patriarchy, I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. It's a world that's run by men, that's led by men. I think that's it, something like that. Let's see. It's okay, shout out to Nico. So yeah, these women right here have more common sense than I expected, because the last one I watched, it was awful. It was awful. This one is making me think a little bit that American women are not as bad as it looks like in the other video. So it gives me some hope, but I don't know. I've never gone there. So let me know in the comments, what did you think about this? And what do you think about these American women?